What's up? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do a quick little build considerations for the Walksnail GT. Now I know you're used to seeing a drove of reviewers reviewing new stuff when it comes out, and I'm not 100% sure why. I'm not getting into the politics of it. I'm not trying to step on any reviewers' views. This is not a review, okay? This has no comparisons, no 100% data. This has no comparisons, no data, no review. All right, this is just me wanting to share with you guys what it takes, what it is like dropping it into a quad. This VTX is more geared towards wings, fixed wings, and planes, and just straight long range. Okay, this isn't a Bando Basher VTX.
Oh, come on! Well, that's very upsetting.
I know I was excited too, guys. I was like, man, 2 watts. I'm fixing to go all the way through the Bando. There's no stopping me now. And maybe that'll work for you if you're extremely good, but as you've seen from my videos, I crash a lot, a lot. And I just really don't think the fan can withstand a bunch of crashing. Now, will this thing work great without the fan? I haven't tested that yet, and I don't want to test that yet. There are some quirks that I do and don't like about this thing. So, just a heads up, the SD card slot drove me crazy. It's not spring loaded and doesn't click in. It just literally just slides in. And it's like, yeah,
so close.
That's one thing that kind of drives me crazy. They give you these little tabs to tape to your SD card, or you could use tape to tape to your SD card so you can pull it out. A couple times I landed kind of hard and it partially came out. So if you have a pretty hard hit, there's a chance it might just come flying out of there. So keep that in mind. But again, this wasn't designed, in my opinion, and from what I've been told and seen. I'm not speaking for anybody. I don't have a piece of paper that says this is for this. This is Cadix's word. This is just what I've gathered. Not even what I've gathered is this was not designed for freestyle quads. This was designed to put on a wing and do what you do with wings. So now if you're looking for some crazy record-breaking long-range footage from me, you ain't getting it. I'm not putting that on my channel. I'm not. There's a lot of us out there that aren't going to put that on our channel, and you know why. And I don't care if you complied or don't comply. That's on you. That's your decision. I'm not getting into the politics in this video. So this is just a video for me to show you guys what I went through putting it on my quad, what my experiences were testing it, and some things to look out for. If it weren't for these quirks, I probably wouldn't have made this video. But there are some little caveats to this VTX as a quad pilot that you might want to keep in mind. You know, there's going to be some awesome reviews by all your classic favorite reviewers. So go watch those. Go spend your time there. Give them the views, the credit they deserve for the hard work they put in. This is a little, hey, keep in mind while you're building this and buying this for your quad. So just want to throw that out there before we really dive deep into this video. Actually, let's jump to a disclaimer real quick before we dive into this video, because I probably need to go over some things when it comes to that. I am not sponsored by Cadix. Nope, they don't pay me to tell you to go buy their stuff. Go buy whatever you like to fly. I don't care. I fly. I used to have HD0, but got rid of it. Wasn't a big fan of the breakup. That's me. It's a super awesome system. Analog is awesome. DJI is also awesome. I got some V2 goggles. I got an 03 in a quad. I love DJI. DJI is fun. I use DJI Action 2 cams. I'm filming this on a DJI Pocket 3. Okay? I fly Cadix as my daily driver because I like it. Okay? I'm a fan of Cadix. I want Cadix to succeed, but I just want to get this disclaimer out there because I've been called a shill, and I will lie to try to get and ignore the bad things and the problems that have been with the system. to try and get people to buy it for some. They don't pay me. I don't get money if you buy Walksnail stuff. I don't care. Go buy something else. I can't even monetize my channel. There's no affiliate links down there. Don't buy it. I don't care. I just like them. I think they make good stuff. They do have some problems. I've beat my head against the wall on a few things. I'm just a tester. They send me this VTX to test. They've sent me some things to test, to find problems with, so that we can pass that on to them and hope that they change it. So here's your GT. I got the fan on the top, and this is, I don't know the exact measurements, but this is roughly the same size as the Moonlight. I had them next to each other and they're pretty much the same. I've already seen some questions about this online. This is powering the fan. This is RX and TX pad, 5 volt and ground, and it goes from here in here to this fan. So you have an extra RX TX pad, but they're using this for the fan itself. Other than that, you have plug, goes to the flight controller. Alright, now this is something I think you need to keep in mind when mounting this to your frame. Is you're going to have a battery right here, which is going to block these holes right here. And depending on your frame, this fan might be touching this top plate. On my Quad Mula, it was touching it, and I had to drill some holes in the bottom. You're going to want a gap in there. Right there is the gap you're going to want, so the air can actually flow through there. Because if it's touching your top plate, not only is that going to cause a problem when you crash or you land too hard, but it's just not going to flow air, and it's going to completely defeat the purpose of the fan. So keep that in mind when you're mounting it on a quad. The height, and you're probably thinking to yourself, well, it looks like it's fine. Why do I need to worry about that? Well, let me show you. Well, the VTX has legs, and the legs, like little stand, is the same size as these holes. So if it wasn't for these holes, it would be standing up even taller than it is. It's the width of this carbon fiber. So if it wasn't for these holes right here, this VTX would actually be sitting up taller than it is in this frame. Because the apex has the bigger hole, the legs are actually able to fit down in it. So that's an M3 size hole. So the legs on this VTX are the size of M3 screws. They take M2 screws inside the hole, but it's a lot like similar to the V3. How the V3 had those big screw holes, except these legs are actually tall. They're the height of pretty much the way the carbon fiber is thick. This is, so I did a screw and a nut to help keep it secure in there, and to keep it, because if I had just done a screw, it would have pulled right through. So hopefully that's making sense. Now keep in mind, this center is exactly the same as the Apex 5-inch. So if you have an Apex 5-inch, this is the same. Same. Alright. So it gives you an idea. This isn't bigger, it being a 7-inch, it's just the arms are. So if you have an Apex or you've flown an Apex, to get kind of an idea, this is what you got here. You're going to have to drill M3 size holes if you don't have them to get this to sit low enough for air to flow through. It's going to sit flush, I promise you. The legs are tall. They're as tall as this carbon is thick. How the exact height, I wish I could tell you. I don't have a way to measure it. Just telling you how it went on the Apex. Alright, well, another thing to be aware of is this, in standby mode, uses a ceramic antenna. In standby mode, you're not using these antennas. Alright, so unless you're right at your quad with your goggles pointing directly at them, you're going to drop signal. And I know people are going to get this thing and they're going to think something's wrong with theirs. They're going to be like, I'm 5 feet away from my quad and it's not connecting. Point your goggles at them and maybe walk a little bit closer so this ceramic antenna will catch it. Now, as soon as you get out of standby mode, these antennas kick in, your full 2 watts kicks in, you take off, you have a good time. Alright, but when you power down, it's going to go to the ceramic antenna. Alright, so that's something to keep in mind. It wasn't a big issue for me once I got used to it. I would power up, make sure everything was good with the quad, and then start to walk away, and then I'd flip my quad on right before I was about to sit down or get ready to fly. So it's something to keep in mind, something to think about. If you're 10 feet away from your quad and you're wondering why it's not connecting, it's because you're in standby mode and it doesn't use these antennas in standby mode. Also, this fan doesn't have an on or off. It's plugging into power, it's running. I let this thing sit for, I don't even know how long it was. It was a long time, and the VTX never did overheat. Then again, it was in standby mode, so this fan does a really good job of keeping these things cool. It's amazing how a little bit of a fan can make such a big difference on VTXs. Wish we could put I wish we could put one of these on a Moonlight. That'd be awesome. But check your power. I fly 4S, even on this 7-inch. I fly 4S, so I'm running VBAT. VBAT's plenty of power for this thing. There's going to be a minimum voltage for this. If you get too low a voltage, it's going to cut out on you. And of course, like other stuff, there's going to be a maximum too where you don't want to go over. But something to think about, if your BEC isn't giving this thing enough power, if you're doing a little 5-volt BEC, it's not going to handle it. Alright, you need to use the correct voltage. It's in the manual. Check it, read it. I would tell you, but you should be reading the manual, not listening to a YouTuber. Okay, check the voltage in the manual. If this thing dips below that or isn't getting it, you're going to have problems. You're going to be posted on Facebook. Then someone's going to tell you, oh, I didn't have that problem. It must be something wrong with your stuff. I didn't have that problem. And you're going to get mad, and then people are going to start trolling. It's just this big snowball effect, all because you didn't look and see what you needed to power it on VTX. And I also want to speak on noise. I know guys like to use GPS. You see my GPS is way over here. And the reason it's way over there is because this thing's noisy. Alright, whoever thought it was a good idea to put a GPS back here behind the antennas. I mean, it works with DJI stuff, but it works a lot better when you move it. So, if it works that good with it, imagine how good without it over there. Get your GPS away from noise. Get your GPS away from electronic noise. Okay? Walksnail doesn't have any shielding. This thing's going to put off a lot of noise, and it's going to cause you to get issues with connecting to satellites and maintaining satellite position. Alright, it will affect your GPS. Now that we've seen kind of how it is on the quad, I'm going to do a quick video of me at the bando so you can kind of get an idea of the penetration and just, you know, my experience from that. In this video, I'll kind of narrate as I fly. It's not a long range video, it's just me seeing kind of how it does behind certain buildings. Now, concrete buildings and trees are going to block signal no matter how many watts you put out. So keep that in mind. Even analog goes out behind trees on the 2-watt and 5-watt systems. It's just how it is. But it is a little impressive to some of the side flying that I do and stuff. There is a noticeable difference in this VTX. And if you're wanting to put this on a long range quad or a mid-range cruiser, landscape surfer, it's really good for that. I think it's awesome for that. And I think the people who have been a little nervous to use Walksnail in long range or Walksnail in landscape surfing, I think this is an answer to that. Because my last long range video, which I will link somewhere at maybe probably the end of this, I'll have a little thing pop up. I put down my DJI quad. Yes, I also fly DJI. And I tested this quad out with that quad, and I wanted to see if they would both do the same thing. Just in a regular scenario, not a let's see what the limits are scenario, but just this is what I'm going to fly, and let's see how they both handle it. Just as an average Joe coming out, doing some landscape surfing. Let's see how they do. So if you watch that video, now I don't say which one's which, but both quads filmed that, and that footage is from both quads. You can't tell the difference. I felt just as confident flying the Walksnail one as I did the DJI one. They both did exactly what I asked for them. They both held signal just fine. Never dropped any signal. When I went down into the creek bed below my antenna range, that they held up. Both of them did. And it gave me a lot of confidence in the system. Would I have done that with a V2? Probably not. Probably not. But with this, that little extra power gives that little extra bit of confidence, I think, flying. And that's where this is going to shine. If you love landscape surfing and you really want to carve down the side of a mountain, I think this is probably going to be the Walksnail VTX to do that for you. And if you want that alternative to DJI, which I still like the DJI 03 for doing that, but now I don't have to worry about bringing an extra set of goggles. If I'm going on a trip, I can just bring this quad. So it was nice for that. And if you want, go watch that video and you can see what this thing's capable of in a real world scenario. But alright, here I am in my car in the passenger seat, and we're going to do some flying around to see exactly how the penetration does. Now for here, I'm actually facing out the side of my car to the right side, not the front. So this is technically to the side of my signal beam from my Walksnail V1 goggles with the patch antennas on it. So here I'm actually to the side of it. Penetration is doing surprisingly well, considering that I'm not facing this direction. I'm actually facing to the side of this direction. So I decided to push it a little bit. We go a little further in. Now there's multiple structures blocking. There's a little bit of smearing there, as I am not in my beam of the goggles. And this right here, I kind of start to hit the edge of the beam. So was a little impressed by that. It wasn't directly in front of the crosshair antennas. I'm not using omnis other than what's on the quad itself. So V2 would have never made it right here. I know, because I've tried from where I was flying at. Alright, here I make another pass down low just to see how the penetration does through these two buildings. There's nothing in the buildings. They are concrete, steel, and metal paneling on the sides. Now I'm in completely to the side of my left side. And then here I'm about to cross in front of the beam. So right here I'm actually directly in front of my goggle beam right here. That kind of gives you a perspective. You can see me right there facing out the side of the car, the passenger side. Now this is directly behind me. So I'm going just to see how it does. Me looking the other way with the X-Air antennas from True RC at the Let's Fly RC, the Sean's modification that he did with these goggles. New 3D printed front end with the 4 crosshair antennas in the front by True RC. So I am behind myself, a little past, I would say maybe close to 200 yards, 150 yards. Up in the air though, you get a good signal up in the air. Gonna do another pass. So thanks for watching and checking this out. Remember, go watch those reviews whenever they start coming out. I don't know when they're gonna come out, if they're gonna come out, if they care, whatever. But make sure you watch them, keep an eye out, and hopefully this maybe helps some of you guys with planning a build or planning on adding this to a current build. So appreciate the watch, appreciate the likes and subscribes, and hope to see you guys on the next one. Appreciate you guys watching. Y'all have a good one.